Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Samslow33 here, and welcome to the next episode of my Pokemon Card of the Day. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about one of the most hyped cards from Furious Fists, Seismitoad EX. If you've been going to any league challenges or regionals recently, you've probably seen a deck featuring Seismitoad performing well there. Of course this card sees a lot of play, but that hasn't stopped me from hating cards in the past. Let's take a look at Seismitoad and see what all the fuss is about. I know I already talked about this in my Furious Fist set review, but there's plenty of room to discuss. Seismitoad EX has 180 HP, a grass weakness, and 3 retreat. The stats are fairly poor. 3 retreat is much less than optimal, and a grass weakness is going to be a real pain when facing Virizion decks. The 180 HP is nice though. It's got 2 attacks. The first is called Quaking Punch, which does 30 damage for 2 colorless, and the opponent can't play items on their next turn. The second attack is called Grenade Hammer, which costs 2 water and a colorless, does 130 damage, and you deal 30 damage to 2 of your bench Pokemon. The big draw of this card is obviously the first attack. Quaking Punch is beyond deadly. Item Lock is a very disruptive effect, and it's not usually something we've seen on a basic Pokemon that can attack on the first turn, and that does damage. 30 damage may seem like a low amount, but remember we live in a format where basics can do 50 extra damage by playing 2 items in a stadium. With so few cards required to use this combo, you can play pretty much anything else along with Seismitoad. The best partner for Seismitoad is Garbodor. You get to shut off their abilities and items, and they can't play Megaphone, so they're pretty much stuck without abilities as long as you're using Quaking Punch. Grenade Hammer also does a pretty high amount of damage for the energy cost. It's usually not wise to use it the whole game, since it does quite the number on your bench, but it's pretty darn useful the first couple times you use it each game, assuming your Seismitoad variant is playing water energy. So, what's my opinion on this card? I gotta say, it deserves all the hype it's gotten so far. Quaking Punch is just ridiculous. Most decks just can't take that kind of early disruption. They're unable to play their Ultra Balls, their Muscle Bands, their Switches, their Ace-Specs, their Rare Candies for Stage 2 decks. It's just awful. The poison damage is really the icing on the cake. Without Switch, they really have no way to get out of poison, thus it racks up incredibly quickly. While Seismitoad is great as a main attacker, it's almost as good as a setup Pokemon. With how much it slows down the opponent, and how little it requires to keep itself maintained, you can just set up something stronger on the bench to sweep the rest of their field. Even with Garbodor, you definitely have enough space to fit in something like that. The only problem I've found with Seismitoad is it's pretty darn weak when you don't have Muscle Band or Verbank going. 30 or 40 a turn is too weak compared to most decks these days, even with the item lock. Now we've got to take a look at Seismitoad's main partners in crime. I said earlier that even with Garbodor, you definitely still have space to add a wide variety of alternate attackers. The first one is Yveltal EX. Yes, the past week of regionals has shown this combo to be quite the strong one. Philadelphia had 10 of them in their top 32 after day 1, and Phoenix had at least 4 of them, with Ryan Sablehouse going undefeated with it day 1 in Philadelphia and winning the whole thing in top 8. Just a few months ago, Next Destinies through Dragons Exalted were rotated from the format. And along with those sets went Dark Patch, the driving force behind Yveltal decks. While Oblivion Wing was an alright substitute for Dark Patch, it couldn't live up to its former glory. But, with Seismitoad thrown into the mix, you can send it up early game to give you time to set up your big Yveltals for late game. Yveltal already plays Laser, Verbank, and Garbodor, so Seismitoad fits right in. Seismitoad and Yveltal also help fix some of each other's shaky matchups, such as Pyroar and fighting variants. The next partner is one I thought up myself. That one's Charizard EX. Charizard's biggest issue has always been its super high energy cost, and its weakness to fizzling out late game. Seismitoad is yet again great for slowing down the opponent enough to power up 1 or 2 big Charizards to sweep through your opponent's field. Charizard is so incredibly strong once set up. With the steady supply of lasers and muscle bands, Combustion Blast will literally blow through everything that your opponent sends active. You've even got room for stuff like Blacksmiths to speed up the process even more. And some of Charizard's biggest weaknesses are either gone or severely weakened. Enhanced Hammer, Curaman Deoxys, Yveltal, so now might be its best time to shine. It also helps a ton with one of Seismitoad's biggest weaknesses, one not even Yveltal helps that much with, Virgin. If you want to save some room, you can cut the Blacksmith and Fire energy in place for Water energy and just use Wing Attack to KO Virizion and Genesect with a Muscle Band and a Laser. Any way you slice it, Charizard certainly offers something new to this deck. The last big combo is Pyroar. Seismitoad makes it a lot harder for decks to set up their Pyroar counters, since they don't have access to Ultra Ball. You can also Catcher or Lysander up their counter and lock it active before your opponent has time to set it up. Garbodor is a great example of this. If they don't attach a Float Stone to their Trubbish before you start using Quaking Punch, you can bring up their Trubbish and lock it active. Even if you don't lock their counter active, you'll still have plenty of time to set up a couple Pyroars to take out the counters themselves. With Pyroar, you don't really have room for Garbodor anymore, or even lasers, but alternatively, you can skip out on all the standard Pyroar cards like Blacksmith and Catchers, and just play a 2-2 Pyroar line in the Garbodor variant. And that's all the need-to-knows of Seismitoad EX. For my rating, I give Seismitoad a 9 out of 10. This card's not just powerful, it's game-defining powerful. The early disruption and damage this guy provides is unmatched right now, and the sheer amount of decks that can play it assures this card will always be an archetype. The only issues with this card are how weak it is without Laser and Burbank, and how incredibly bad it is against Virizion decks. Thankfully, these issues are easily fixable though. I can already tell this card will shape the way players build decks for the next 2 years. And that's gonna be it for today's card of the day. I hope you all enjoyed. I apologize for the lack of videos recently. I've been busy with a theater production, being sick, and I've been working on other bigger videos too. But I'm hoping to start getting videos out more frequently now. Let me know what you thought about the video in the comments section below, or just give me a thumbs up or down to save you some time. Or both if you're really feeling it. Next up should be my Phantom Forces set review, so I hope you guys are excited for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.